Really good video I've been wanting to watch with all of you.
The Man with the Golden Gun.
One of my favorite Bond films is The Man with the Golden Gun. It was one of those films where they really started to hit their stride with Roger Moore as the new James Bond. And some of the suits that he wore in that particular film absolutely looked the business. This is For the Love of Suits. The title is Can Classic Style Last for 5 Decades? Roger Moore and The Man with the Golden Gun gives it a try. I think he pulls it off rather well, but I'll let you be the judge, chat.
The Man with the Golden Gun is Roger Moore's second Bond movie. And after the huge success of his first 007, this movie got an even bigger budget, which is great for us because the wardrobe is greatly expanded in this movie and we have a lot of suits to look at. And even though this movie is just over 50 years old, you can see some fabulous suits that are totally wearable today, underscoring the sentiment that style lasts longer than fashion. However, there's some fashionable items in there, including one
That safari jacket, I like that.
horrific jacket. Does anybody know what this check is?
That's not horrific. That actually looks really nice. Although I'd probably opt for maybe a smaller, thinner pattern. Something a bit more subtle. That one got a bit shouty, but it's nice.
I'll let you know later on in the video as we look at some fantastic suits and a couple of fashion disasters. Hi, I'm Michael, and welcome to my channel for the love of suits. I try to find inspiration on how to dress well from the best dressed men on the screen. Drop a new video every Wednesday and shorts throughout the week. And the first suit Roger Moore wears in this movie is the classic chalk stripe.
That is really nice, especially with this. That is a striped shirt. I always thought it was a standard white shirt, but it looks like it's got some sort of stripe or texture pattern to it. And this burgundy tie, oh, amazing.
I love the chalk stripe. It's a fabulous suit. I've covered it many times from Bond to Jeremy Irons. It's a casual alternative to the pinstripe and is so named for the obvious reason that it looks like tailor's chalk marks on fabric. But in this,
honestly, you could wear it to a formal setting and nobody would bat an eye these days. That just shows you, honestly, you would still be overdressed. You would probably still be overdressed. That's kind of how far we have fallen as a society.
In this case, we're looking at quite a light grey chalk stripe and a double-breasted suit at that. It's a very nice suit and they haven't gone too crazy on the lapels. It has peak lapels, of course. All double-breasted suits have peak lapels. This is quite
yes. Yeah, if you've got a double-breasted suit and it doesn't have peak lapels, you may need to get another double-breasted suit. Then again, double-breasted suits are not for everyone. So something like this would look fairly... It would still look good with a single breast.
a light grey chalk stripe. More typically, you will see a chalk stripe in a dark grey. You can also get navy chalk stripe, but the dark grey chalk stripe is the default. He's wearing it with a very nice white ribbed shirt, the collar of which looks like it could be gigantic. Thankfully, the jacket is quite rightfully covering over the tips of the shirt collar. Otherwise, I think the shirt might look a bit too dated. The ribbing of the white shirt echoes the chalk stripe of the suit very nicely, so it goes very well together without interfering with each other because, of course, the stripes in the shirt are much narrower than the stripes on the jacket. And he's finished it off with a deep red tie. Double-breasted suits do wax and wane in popularity, but they're never out of style, so you should definitely feel confident buying a double-breasted suit if you're interested. I don't have a double-breasted suit at the moment, but I used to own one. Incidentally, if you're buying a double-breasted vest or a double-breasted jacket for a suit, you should know there's a little button on the inside to help you keep it fastened. And I think
good to know.
I think that is still a stand-up suit. You wouldn't need to make any alterations to it to wear it today. If you're enjoying this video so far, then please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notifications bell as well. It really matters. And if you're feeling generous, become a member. But don't forget to check out the comments section. We have a great community there. Bond's second suit here is a very nice marine blue. Although some people may feel it's a very typical business choice, and blue and grey suits can be quite boring. However, there are literally hundreds...
It's not boring, it's just understated. And it's absolutely timeless. Definitely one of my favourite suits from Man with the Golden Gun.
...of shades of blue and patterns to wear that you could literally have dozens of suits in your closet, all grey and all blue, and have none of them look anything like each other. Here we have a very nice marine blue suit, single-breasted, notched lapels.
Yes.
It could be seen as a business suit or quite a casual wear to a nightclub in the evening, depending on how you dress it up. Here he's wearing it with a pale blue.
These days, you wear this to even a formal function, you probably would be overdressed again. I like that tie too, especially with this sort of light blue shirt. Really smart combination, all of this.
Blue shirt and a deep red satin tie. You could wear a darker blue shirt and no tie and head out for the evening wearing the same suit and look pretty cool. Choosing the right tone of blue is a very important choice depending on what message you want to send.
Looks like only one button on the cuffs. That particular detail is a bit dated. Most of the time when you buy a suit these days, you would expect to find 3 or 4 buttons on the cuffs. Cheaper suits, they will not be functional buttons. More expensive suits, they will.
And you guys are always pointing out, and I'm always complaining about color gaps in movies. But as you can see, Roger Moore has class. He spots that color gap immediately. Whenever you get up, do exactly that action to correct your jacket and don't walk around with a gaping color gap.
Yeah,
and I'm not quite sure how many versions of this suit they made, as it is involved in quite a bit of action.
More than likely, he had maybe at least 2, probably 3, 4, even 5. Because, yeah, it'd be quite easy for something like that to get torn or have some sort of rip. I don't know. If it's well constructed with quality material, it can probably take a beating and still look good. Maybe take it to the cleaners, though, for good measure.
Many Bond movies have had up to 20 versions of a suit made. And here we have a classic double-breasted sports coat, navy with brass buttons. The look, of course, referring back to Bond's naval background. It's a classic sports coat, and it's easy to match with absolutely anything and everything. Bond wears this...
Yeah, a navy sports coat with gold buttons is fairly standard kit in men's suiting, men's formal wear, men's business attire. It's one of those staples that you absolutely must have. You can pair it with just about anything, with, you know, sort of khaki pair of trousers or grey trousers, white or blue dress shirts, variety of different sorts of ties. It really works. It works really well. And it's just one of those things you absolutely must have in your wardrobe.
Jacket twice in the movie, so we have 2 slightly different looks to go with it. In the first look, he's wearing it with a striped white shirt, a pale blue tie, and some dark navy trousers. A classic look that you could wear anywhere. Of course, it can be dressed down with jeans. You don't have to wear a necktie, and you could...
Don't wear jeans with a suit jacket, Chad. Just don't. I know it looks cool. A lot of people do it. No, don't do that.
Even wear a sweater or a turtleneck underneath. Let's take a look at the second look Bond has in this
movie. That you can
Still being quite formal and still being quite naval, he has on a white shirt and a rep tie, which is a military tie. In Bond's case, of course, it would be a naval tie because of his background. And he's got a pair of cream linen trousers. And this is where things get a little bit dicey. We're starting to see the 70s influence here with the safari jacket. I'm not a huge fan of safari jackets myself, but they're very popular and they can look good in certain circumstances.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Definitely was a 70s sort of thing, stretched a little bit into the 80s. It really depends on the climate and what part of the world you're in. So if you're in a warmer climate, like I tend to stay in a mostly warm climate, stays warm most of the year, even sometimes just gets unbearably hot. A fairly thin broadcloth dress shirt and a safari jacket makes for a really good combination. Or even more simply, you could do safari shirts. Those have a lot of utility with the extra pockets. Still looks very sharp. You could probably even, wear that sans jacket and still look really smart going to dinner with family or friends or a date or something like that.
I'm not sure you should wear a tie with a safari jacket. I think these days they're certainly considered a more casual item. But he's wearing with a pair of dark brown...
Yeah, definitely with safari jackets, safari shirts, a little more casual. It definitely falls into smart casual territory. But yeah, definitely seen the 70s influence here, especially with the lapels. I will say, to Bond's credit, it's not a leisure suit.
Trousers and a dark brown tie to match, and a white shirt. And this version of the safari jacket has some very obvious pick stitching. That is decorative stitching around the edges of the jacket, particularly the lapels. This can work very well in some suits when it's subtle. Having pick stitching that stands out is a little bit tacky.
That's the 70s showing through. So not perfect, but yeah.
The safari jacket itself has so much going on already, with epaulettes and flat pockets with vents. You really don't need to add any other details to it. It's just going to make it look too fussy. Safari jackets...
I kind of like the epaulets, though, on the shoulders. I know they don't really serve any sort of functionality. I do like the look of it. You know, sort of harkening back to the whole military regimental look. I like that.
These days are a little more toned down than this one, and it works much better. It works great as a casual item, and as I say, I don't think it goes well with a necktie. I used to live in China and visit Hong Kong and Macau frequently, and I've been on the ferry and the jet foil, and it brings back memories. And here we have, once again, a very classic suit that has stood the test of time. Just a reminder, this film is 50 years old. If you had bought that suit back then and you still had it, you could wear it today. He's wearing a light grey sharkskin suit. That is a grey fabric with a thread.
Brilliant. Grey sharkskin. Chef's kiss. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. Get yourself a grey sharkskin suit, chat. If you're in the market for a new suit, maybe you need something for a job interview or for a new job, or maybe you just want to upgrade your look. A grey sharkskin suit. Can't go wrong with it.
Running vertically through it to give it some very interesting texture. While not as breathable as linen, silk feels very cool on the skin and is a very good choice for the heat.
Feels
a white shirt and a navy tie on. We get a quick flash of the lining on this suit, and it looks like a fun, interesting. One of the best things about getting
white shirt, navy tie. It's a color combination that they would revive multiple times with Bond. I think you would see Pierce Brosnan wear one in The World Is Not Enough, and then more recently you would have seen Daniel Craig wear a similar suit and tie combination in No Time to Die.
Custom-made suits is that you can choose excellent linings. Also, you will notice the hacking pockets on this jacket. They are slanted pockets at an angle. They instantly make a suit feel more casual and fun. So I'm guessing 1974 was the year of the double-breasted suit. This time a very interesting pinstripe dark olive double-breasted suit, with peak lapels of course. He has on a white shirt and an olive shantung silk necktie.
That's interesting. An olive suit, rare colour for the suit. Doesn't exactly work for everyone, but if you can make it work for yourself, by all means go for it.
Shantung is a slubby, unfinished silk with a lot of texture on it and makes it look very interesting. It's also a good way to dress down while still wearing a necktie.
And that's the important thing, is that you don't want those kind of shiny, satiny necktie suits that you see sold for cheap in some of the department stores. You want something with a bit of texture, especially if it's a solid color tie. So something with a little bit of texture to it, very subtle, that's perfect.
And the British spy headquarters in Hong Kong is beautifully fit on this sunken ship in the harbour. Everything inside is topsy-turvy and at an angle, and it's a great set. And well, you wouldn't want to run too fast with these shirt collars, you might just take off the ground. I'm not a fan of short sleeve shirts. I much prefer to either go with a t-shirt or a polo, or a shirt and roll up the sleeves. I always find the shirt a halfway house that doesn't quite work one way or the other. And the shirt has a square cut bottom, which is perfectly suitable for an untucked shirt. And he has matched it with a pair of flared cream trousers. This is one of the trendier outfits from 1974.
Yeah, flares don't really work anymore. If that's the one thing I could change about that outfit, is get rid of the flare in the trousers.
So you definitely could not get away with wearing that today. The flared trousers and the shirt collar are just too much. That is why it's always important to stick with classic styles and classic dimensions. And where would we be in a Bond?
Yeah, because it looked good yesterday, it looks good today, and it'll look good tomorrow. Exactly right.
Movie without a tuxedo or a dinner jacket. Of course, it's double-breasted and a white one, which we've seen Bond wear many times. Both Sean Connery and Daniel Craig have worn white dinner jackets. But interestingly, this jacket is made from Dupioni silk and is quite a rough silk, very similar to the shantung silk tie he had on earlier on. Quite a lot of texture going on for a dinner jacket. And here we have Bond back in a more casual suit, this time a classic pattern, a herringbone in charcoal grey. Once again, a suit I think you could get away with wearing today. Where these costumes let anyone down is usually in the shirts. Those giant 70s shirt collars are just too big to get away with today. However, the suits themselves definitely standing the test of time. He's wearing a white cotton shirt with a thin ticking stripe in light grey and a black satin silk tie. A lot of silk in Bond's wardrobe in this movie due to the Asian setting. And this
makes sense. And it's comfortable. And to a certain extent, it's, I guess you could say it's breathable a little bit. Not as much as, say, cotton or linen. But definitely feels luxurious. Yeah, but with that shirt there in the last shot, probably would have been better just opt for standard crisp white dress shirt. Keep it simple.
This time a safari shirt rather than a safari jacket in sage green, matched with cream linen trousers.
That's really not a bad combination, especially if you're going to a really hot tropical climate. I would wear that.
The safari shirt itself a little dated. Cream linen trousers, very
I don't know.
linen trousers. The safari shirt itself a little dated. Cream linen.
I think it would still work even today. I think you could make a case. Though you might, make the collar a bit shorter, not as much flare out, but it would still work. But you would, as mentioned, it more suited to warmer climates. So places where it's going to be a hot summer, or, the Caribbean, or someplace in Central America, some places in Southeast Asia, like where they filmed, especially in summertime where it gets incredibly hot and humid. This sort of outfit would be perfect, and I think you would look quite stylish. If anything, you might even make a bit of a statement, in a good way.
Trousers, very suitable for the heat, and easily matched with almost any shirt.
Yes.
Yikes, I promised to return to that absolutely outstandingly awful jacket. 1974, I guess, is a trend.
Now, see, I'm going to disagree on that. I think the only thing that's really holding this back is the fact that the pattern itself is too big. It needs to be smaller, thinner. I think that's what held this one back. It's still a lovely pattern for the jacket. We need to just dial it down a lot to where it's much more subtle. Definitely more of the 70s showing through, but again, a smaller pattern, thinner lines, that would have been much better.
The single-breasted sports jacket, made from grey, red and black plaid checks. Never wear anything as loud as this. So I did a little bit of research where I can find out that this is actually...
Yeah, it is quite loud. That does need to be much more subtle. I think one of the chaps of the Suits of James Bond podcast and newsletter actually did find a really good tailor in Vietnam who was able to make a jacket similar to this, but with a much more subtle pattern, and it really looked sharp. I think it turned out really well. So I think that's the key. This is just a bit too shouty, but again, it was the 70s. Looks like bathroom tiles need to be smaller, yes. By the way, welcome in, Essen. Good to see you. How are you?
Never wear anything as loud as this. So I did a little bit of research where I can find out that this is actually known as a Texas check. And the last jacket we see Bond wearing here is a plain black jacket, which he stole from a dummy in Scaramanga's headquarters. Now, this Bond movie has been chock full of excellent suits. I can't remember reviewing so many clothes in one Bond movie since On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And I know some of you are probably going to complain, with a fabulous villain like Christopher Lee, how come I didn't cover his wardrobe as well? Perhaps I'll do another Bond villain video in the future, but I've done one already and you can check that out here. Thank you for watching to the end. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next week for another video.
That's fantastic. Give that a like. Drop the link in chat for everybody. We will give For the Love of Suits a follow.